Welcome to Colorful Tamiko. This is my adult coloring channel about adult coloring and how to do that. This video is going to be about the supplies you need to get started with adult coloring and the things I use and my favorite supplies and where to get these supplies. I hear a lot of people always ask, what do I need to get started with adult coloring? I'm interested, but I don't know what to get and where do you get your stuff for. So this is what this video is basically about. So let's get into this video. So this is a picture I colored in, what book is this? Ivy and the Inky Butterfly by Johanna Basford. And I'm just going to talk about the supplies I used in this picture and things you need to get started to adult color. I used pencils in this picture and I used some gel pens for highlights. But we're going to start off with pencils. First of all, you could get a low budget pencil if you want. I would recommend if you're just now starting to get a low budget pencil. If you want, and then upgrade your pencil to a artist quality pencil. A low budget pencil would be something like Crayola or Arteza or something like that. I colored this picture with Polychromos by Faber-Castell, and those pencils are artist grade pencil. But if you're just starting out, I would recommend getting a low budget pencil, which would be Arteza or Crayola. So the difference between pencils as a colorist is you have your wax-based pencils and then you have your oil-based pencils. Wax-based pencils tend to leave wax bloom on your paper when you're coloring, and oil-based pencils does not leave a wax bloom. Example of an oil-based pencil would be your Polychromos, which is what I colored this with. I actually have both. I have Prismas and Polychromos. I like them both. They're just two different pencils to work with, and I get great results out of both of them. But it's going to take some mastering with you, practice with using them to master, this type of coloring. But let me show you an example of the Prismacolors that I have, and then I'll show you an example of the Polychromos. So you're also going to need to get you a case to carry your pencils with, to keep your pencils protected. And this is the case that I ordered from Amazon. And these are my Polychromos pencils. And these are the pencils that I used to color the picture that I showed you guys with. And I have them all in here so they can stay protected and not fall and get broken. So that's how the Polychromos pencils look. And then I have the Prismacolors. And the Prismacolors are your wax-based pencils. And these are actually the first set of pencils I bought was the Prismacolors. And like I said, I love my Prismacolors. This is my favorite pencils. And I have a lot of pencils. I have Crayola. I have Artezas. I have Luminance. I have some Holobens. Yeah. And I have some watercolors. And we're going to talk about watercolor pencils too. So once you decide which media you want to use, which is you can use pencils, you can use watercolor pencils. And watercolor pencils are just a medium. They're just like a pencil, but they you add water to intensify the color. An example of watercolor pictures, watercolor pencils that I have, I'm sorry. Watercolor pencils that I have would be Statler Aquarel, and this would be my watercolor pencils. Usually they have the little sign on it, like a paintbrush sign showing you that they're watercolor. Let me take one out so you can see it better. And I love these. I think I have a picture where I did a watercolor, but I'm not sure if I have it here with me right now. So yeah, I'll show you guys that in another video. Okay, so moving on. You're also going to need a good pencil sharpener, definitely, because you want to protect your pencils. And in the beginning, I didn't do that, and that's why a lot of my Prismacolors are like small sizes, like because I was using a bad sharpener and it was eating up my pencil, like literally eating my pencil up. So you want to invest in a good pencil sharpener. And the sharpener that I recommend would be just your basic sharpener if you're just starting out. And it looks like this, and it's really simple. And when you sharpen your pencil, you want to make sure that you're not turning the pencil inside of the sharpener, but you're turning the sharpener around the pencil. So that way you don't break the lead. So you want to turn the sharpener around the pencil like this. And that's, whoa, what was in there? That's how you're going to, I don't know what was in there. I just made a mess. But that's how you, I think, you know what? I think I put my makeup pencil in there. But anyways, so yeah, that's how you do that. And so you also can use an electric pencil sharpener. I love this electric pencil sharpener. My husband actually got me this one. And I really don't know who it's by. It says ZMOL on it, but it's awesome. Like, it has three ways you can sharpen a pencil to 3 different points, smaller to medium to large, to a really pointy. And for instance, I'm going to sharpen this one because it looks like it needs to be sharpened. And it sharpens it really well. So yeah, I still got blue on my finger. This one really sharpens to a great point, and it stops automatically. That's why I love this pencil sharpener. It doesn't just keep going and keep going and keep going. It stops once it gets to a certain point. And that you want to get your pencils to a point like this so you can get into those fine details of coloring in your coloring book. Now, another pencil sharpener that everybody loves would be the handheld one, and it's a Dale 133 and Dale 155. It's a hand crank one. Mine's is actually on the way. I don't have it yet, but that's another pencil sharpener that a lot of colorists use and really like. Another thing you're going to need to get is a good eraser. And I have, in the beginning, I just had my pack of Prisma erasers. And these are really good erasers. It takes up the color really well. And you're going to need that because you can use your erasers also to do some highlights with if you're going to do some highlights in your pictures. I also have an electric eraser, which I like. This is Tin Win. I got it from Amazon. And I like it because it's really small and it really gets that color off of there. And if you just press the button, it just goes. So that's a good eraser to get. Eraser to get. Another tool you'll need for your coloring would be a blending pencil. you're going to need some type of blending pencil. I know a lot of people either use their white for a blending pencil, their white pencil for a blending pencil, or you can get a blending pencil. And I have my Prisma blending pencil here. It's so little. So I told you at the beginning when I started coloring, my pencil sharpener was eating up my pencils. But yeah, this would be a blender pencil. And a blender pencil is just a pencil with wax. It has no color in it, so it blends out the um the color onto the page, into the tooth of the page. Um, Another blending pencil would be the Cardenci one. I love that one. That actually is my favorite one. The Prisma one is okay. It's okay for Prismas. So you have your waxed blending pencils and you have your oil blending pencils. So you want to use your wax blending pencils with your wax pencils and your oil blending pencils with your oil pencils. Another thing you're going to need is books, of course. And I can go on and on and on about books. My favorite artist is Johanna Basford, and that's what this one was. The picture that I showed you was out of. This is Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. She has so many other books too, and she has a new one coming out. I'll also be doing book reviews on my channel, and doing flip throughs, so you'll see the upcoming new books on here and what they look like. But you can get books from anywhere, and it just depends on what kind of books you like. Like I said, my favorite artist is Johanna Basford, and I like Hannah Carlson, I think that's her name. Carlson. She has a book like this. It's called Summer Nights. And she has a lot of books too, and she's a great artist. And I'll do some flip through of her books when I get her new book on another video. I usually get all my books from Amazon, but I know people get books from Walmart, Blick website. There's so many places to get books. So it just depends on who you like and what kind of coloring you like. Now, when I first started coloring, my first book was from Creative Haven. She has a lot of books. I mean, this author has a lot of books, and from a lot. I can't even name them all, but this is one of my favorite authors when I first started out. So the other thing you'll need for deciding what you want to do in your coloring books, you'll need gel pens for highlights or for adding details. And when I say highlights or adding details, like the picture that I just showed you has some highlights and details in it. And I use the gel pen for that. The little white specks is the highlights and was used with a gel pen. And I like Jelly Roll gel pens. Yeah, I think that's what they call it, Jelly Roll gel pens. I have a couple of these in white. I also have some of their glitter pens because I like to use the glitter pens as highlights in my book. And it also just makes the color pop off the page. So if you're a colorist, you might want to invest in some of these. Also, there are so many mediums that you can use for adult coloring. Pencils are not the only thing, of course. You have gel pens, and you also have markers. And people use, I actually use markers. Sometimes I use markers, and that's all I use is markers. And then sometimes I use pencils, and that's all I use is pencils. But sometimes I do a mixed media on a page, and I use markers, pencils, gel pens, whatever I feel like using. But markers are used by a lot of colorists, and a lot of colorists love markers. Markers come in two different forms. They come in a water-based form and an alcohol-based form. I think the difference between the alcohol and the water-based form, what I've noticed is that alcohol markers tend to seem to be a little more vibrant and they're harder to blend. And the downside to them is that they bleed through the paper. So if you want to use an alcohol marker, you would want to put a piece of paper up under your page to protect it from the bleeding. The water-based markers blend easier and to me are less vibrant than the alcohol markers. And the downside to them is that they don't blend as easy. An example of a water-based marker would be the Tombow marker, and that would be these. They're brush pens. They have a brush pen at the tip of it, and then they have a nub on the other side. So if you want to get into, small details. I like my Tombow markers. Some people don't like them because what the water-based do also is it can scratch the paper up a little bit if you push too hard or if the paper is too thin. So you will want to check your paper before you color on it. You always want to test and make sure and see what it does to the paper and if the paper is going to actually be able to take it. Alcohol based marker, example of an alcohol based marker would be they have Prismacolor alcohol based markers, Ahuhu. I think it's called Ahuhu. Don't tease me if that is not how you pronounce it, but I'm sure that it's called Ahuhu, and that's a budget marker, and it's alcohol based. You heard me mention earlier about gel pens. A lot of people use gel pens, and you might want to get some gel pens. I have some gel pen, example of some gel pens that I have. I like the Jelly Roll gel pens, but I also have some gel pens from Colorist, and I got these off of Amazon. I get a lot of my supplies off Amazon. I mean, that's just where I go, and it's where I've always been going. But you get a lot of these. I forget how many came in here. But you get a whole case of them, and then you get a refills with them too. So this would be an example of gel pens that people like to use in their coloring. And gel pens also have, they have glitter gel pens, which you can add some sparkle to your coloring if that's what you want to do. So I think that's about it about the supplies that you can use to get started with adult coloring. Just get you some, basically, I don't want to scare you. If all you need to do, all you really need is a book and some pencils or pens or markers. If you just want to be simple and you just want to start there. But as you go along, you might want to upgrade to get some of these things that I just mentioned that people use in their dark coloring. Again, thank you for joining me and happy coloring. Bye. Oh, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you can get notified whenever I make new videos. I think my next video is going to be on blending and how to achieve blending in your books and the techniques that I use and that most colorists use with blending. Have a colorful day. Bye-bye.